Let me just, I think I need to adjust my light though. It's a little bit. All right. Um, all right. Welcome everyone. And today we are talking about what we need to land a remote job. Welcome to this live stream. First ever live stream, y'all. Today was a little bit of a not chaotic. It was a very heavy day. So I had a lot of things going on today. And I said, you know what? I have decided to do these daily live streams for you guys to get this information, to answer your questions. Um, somebody's uh, no to answer your questions on how to work remotely. And the topic for today is essentially one of the questions that somebody asked on TikTok. What do I need to land a remote job in 2026, right? For the rest of January, we're going to be doing daily live streams, and we're going to be doing them on TikTok and on YouTube. It's my first time ever doing a live stream on this platform on YouTube. So I'm trying to just kind of like make sure I get it right, so that we are all everything goes well. I'm adjusting my thing. Welcome to everyone who's joining. If you see me, like, just let me try to see if I can just like change my position so I don't look into directions too much. Oops, sorry. I know the lighting might not be ideal, specifically on YouTube. For those of you guys who are going to watch the replay, I already apologize. But it's the first ever live, and we're going to be doing a few more of these in 2026 in January. So we're going to be doing a lot more lives for the entire month of January. I want to be streaming live and answering your questions. So as you see, the live drop in the comments. I'm trying to adjust myself as I'm speaking so that it doesn't look like I'm looking into directions. Try. Hey, live stream is not easy. Live stream is not easy. Okay. But I don't want you all to feel like, okay, I am, okay. Oops. Something almost fell. Sorry guys. This is the reality of being a content creator. This is the reality of this work that we do. And in as much as we always want to come out there and look polished and everything, it's not always what it's like. So I'm just like adjusting everything. And then let's get started. I actually almost canceled this live because I was like, listen, I'm tired. It's the end of the day. It's Friday, but I made a commitment to come here and to share this information with you and to show up and to answer your questions. And today we are going to talk about what you need to land a remote job in 2026. We've been doing these live streams for, I think, for this week now. We've gone live 3 times. This is the third time that we're going live, and every single day that we go live, I want to answer a question that you have to help you to get closer to your goal of landing a remote job. So when you watch this replay, specifically on YouTube, when you watch this replay, because I don't know if on TikTok you'll be able to watch the replay, I don't think so. But when you watch this replay, drop your questions about landing a remote job, about working remotely, working online. Drop your questions. Let me know what questions you have, and I'm happy to answer them, in the future live or in the comments. So we're going to talk today about what you need to be able to land a remote job in 2026. That's a question that came on a past live. In the first live, we talked about, I didn't do the stream here on YouTube, but we did it on TikTok. We talked about, how to land a remote job in 2026 in general. Yesterday, we spoke about the top high in demand online skills categories when it comes to landing a remote job. And that was part one. And then I'm going to cover part two as well, the top online skills categories when it comes to landing a remote job. We're going to cover part two. But because this question came over yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, in the previous slide, then I said, let me answer this question on this slide. So let's get straight into it. What do you need to be able to land a job online in 2026? Okay. The first thing that you need is skills, right? A lot of people have this assumption or this idea that when you're working online, you are not doing anything. Hi, Eileen. Welcome. Welcome to this live stream. Anyone, when you're joining, just drop a comment to let me know where you're joining from. Eileen, I know you're joining from Grenada, and it's just like an informal conversation. I am sharing some tips with you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Very informal. No gloves or anything like that. So the first thing that you need to land a remote job in 2026 is your skills, right? A skill set. A lot of people have this idea or this assumption that when it comes to working online, people can pay you. What is that? Oh, somebody sent something on TikTok. Oh yes, Eileen became the number one fan club. So fan of the fan club. Thank you, Eileen. I really appreciate you. Sorry, guys. You know these things that people put on TikTok on live. You know, like they give you like hearts, they give you different things. You know, I just saw something popping on the screen, and I'm like, that totally new to this. And you know what? That's okay. The most important thing is to show up, right? So as you're joining the live, drop some hearts, send me some hearts, send me some likes, so that I can, you know, feel encouraged, you know. And I really like seeing those hearts go up, 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 up on TikTok. I actually like to see it. It's really, really cool. On the first live, somebody just went ballistic, and I was like, okay, is that what it feels like to receive TikTok love? Thank you. I appreciate it. And if you know somebody who is looking for a remote job, share this live with them, right? Share this with them. Feel free to drop off the live, share with them so that they can join, and make sure that you follow and ask them to follow the channel so that they get notifications whenever I share information. One more thing that I want to talk about before we actually dive deeper into this topic, one more thing I want to talk about is the fact that on the YouTube channel, The Real Work Online now, which is the same thing as TikTok, what you have on TikTok, The Real Work Online, on the YouTube channel, I'm going to be dropping videos every day. So if you feel like you need this supplement of information, supplement of support, and so forth when it comes to working online, make sure you subscribe on the YouTube channel, because this is literally just like free information, free tips that I'm giving you all. I know that outside is hard. I know that this industry can be a little bit difficult. I know that when you are getting started, it can be difficult to get your footing, but that's the reason why I'm giving you this free information. So if anything at all, if at any point you are like, you know what, I don't have a budget to purchase a course, or I don't have a budget to invest right now, then at least you can get that free information and get ahead on your own. Like, I want to still be able to give you these resources and to give you that information. Okay, let's dive in the meat of the subject. And while we are chatting, while we are talking, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Okay. So the first thing that you need to land a remote job in 2026 is skills. A lot of people have this assumption. A lot of people have this assumption that for you to work online, people can just pay you online to do nothing, right? And I think that is one of the misconceptions that I see a lot in this industry, both from people who are looking for online jobs, or from people who are like, essentially for people who are looking for online jobs. People think that, you know, people can pay you for doing nothing. Like, you can just come and like do like random things or not have any skills and people pay you. What I want you to think about is, when you're working online, the same way you want a real online job, that is the same way employers or clients are looking for real people with real talent, with real skills to do real tasks, right? And so in the same way in which you will go and apply for an in-person job, right? The same way you will go and apply for an in-person job, right? People will hire you to do a specific set of things. That is the same thing when it comes to working online. The only difference is that when it comes to working online, you will be with employers who are not in the same physical space as you. Your employer can be in the Middle East, it can be in Europe, it can be in Africa, it can be in Asia, it can be anywhere in the world. So you will not you're still gonna be doing the work. It's not like you're gonna be able to pop in the office just like that and be like, hey, how are you? How was your day? How was your night? You will not be able to see them like in person, but you still have a real employer, you still have a real job, you still have real coworkers. So you need to have a skill to offer. You need to have something to offer. I see on TikTok a lot of people are sending requests to join the live. Unfortunately, because it's a live stream that I'm doing, I cannot add you guys as co-host. But if you have any questions, drop them in the chat and I will answer them. Okay. So I can add anybody as co-host, but drop your questions in the chat and I will answer them. All right. So the first thing is, you need to have a skill set, a clearly defined skill set. How do you know what your skill set is? How do you know what you have to offer when it comes to working online? How do you know what you can do? That is a very popular question and a very popular concern that a lot of people have when it comes to working online. I get a range of people who have like zero work experience and people who have like a really, really good level amount of work experience, like 10, 15, 20 years sometimes of work experience. And they are wondering, what can I do online, right? Regardless of where you are on the spectrum, whether you are just getting started in your professional career or whether you are already have worked for some time, you can transfer the skills that you have for you to find online work opportunities. You can totally do that. So you don't need to necessarily have experience having worked online for you to be able to land a remote job in 2026. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you work in an office as a secretary, right? If you have worked as a secretary in an office, let's say for 10 years, 15 years, it could be a medical secretary, it could be a legal secretary, it could be a secretary for like a business owner, an entrepreneur, or you've done any of these types of like administrative tasks, clerical tasks, and so forth. You work as a secretary, right? When it comes to working online, you can transfer these same skills and work for a company in the same field. Now, online, they're not going to call it secretarial work. They're not going to call you a secretary, but online, you are the term for this is going to be administrative assistant. You are helping manage administrative affairs, right? That is in general what the bulk of a secretary is. So online, it's the same thing, but it has a different terminology. So understanding that makes you see that, okay, what I'm doing right now and my job, I can actually do it online. It's just like a different terms. It's just a different word that they are using in this online work field, right? So that is the first thing. So when it comes to working online, for you to be able to land a remote job in 2026, you need to have a skill set. You need to have something to offer. I took the example of somebody working as a secretary. If you have worked as a teacher, on this live 2 days ago, we had a teacher, right? She has taught primary school, I think primary school or elementary school, I can't remember, but she has worked as a teacher. And so I told her that when it comes to working online, she can also work either as a teacher, meaning that she will be teaching classes individually, either a specific topic, a specific subject matter, or she could also use the skills that she developed as a teacher to work in categories that require those kind of skills. For example, as a teacher, what kind of skills has she learned, has she developed just from working as a teacher? As a teacher, you learn to be more empathetic, right? You learn to care more for others. You learn to listen, you learn to understand, you learn to correct, you learn to design lesson planning, right? You know, to do like design lesson plans. You learn to create curricula, right? Curricula are like, different less like it's kind of like a not necessarily a lesson plan, but like a year plan or a learning plan for students, right? You learn to do that. You learn to evaluate, you learn to assess, you learn to educate, and you have like a whole bunch of soft skills and some hard skills that you have as a teacher. And so knowing those soft skills then that you have as a teacher, you can transfer those soft skills into a different skills category online, right? Which includes customer service, which includes virtual assistants as well, and many other skills categories. So another approach to it would be, if you feel like, you know what, I have all the skills and I don't know what to do online, then you can literally look at what you're doing right now and figure out what other businesses are going to need what I have to offer. What other businesses are looking for skills like these? What other businesses can I offer these services to for me to be able to land a job online, right? And that way, that gives you two different skills categories that you can already go for. As a teacher, she can go for teaching, and she can also go for, customer service or anything like that. If you have worked in the banking industry, right? I'm going to take an example of somebody who has worked as a teller in the bank, at the bank, right? As a teller, you have experience, dealing with financial transactions, reconciling finances, counting money, putting in orders, taking care of customers as well. And so when it comes to working online, you might not necessarily work for a bank when it comes to working online, but you gotta ask yourself, okay, with the tasks that I have done online as a teller, right? Not online, with the tasks that I've done at my current job as a teller, right? What are the things that I can do, online, or what are the skills category that I can go for online? Now, me having coached people in this skills category, I already know a priori. I already know from the get go things that you can do online include things like customer service in the financial industry as well, financial assistance, virtual assistance for finances, for bookkeeping and things like that. So it's just to show you that a lot of times it's just a matter of figuring out what you are doing right now and what are the clients or the skills categories that you can go for with the skills that you already have, and with the work that you are currently doing online, right? In person, sorry. So if you want right now on this live, you can drop it in the comments. Drop in the comments right now and let me know what is your skills category. What are you currently doing at your 9 to 5? If you had a 9 to 5 before and you don't have one right now, what were you doing at that 9 to 5? If you have never worked, what are the things that you have learned at school, right? And then from that, I can also give you case examples of types of jobs that you can go for when it comes to working online. So that's the first thing. The second thing that you need when it comes to working online is sorry, the lady had asked, what do I need? So first of all, your skills categories. The second thing that you need is, working laptop, right? Working laptop, and internet connection. a lot of people, I see a question coming in. Can you talk about leveraging ChatGPT or AI to aid in profile overview? Yes, I can definitely talk about that. Thank you. I can talk about that as we go deeper in the life, right? Thank you. We will talk about that. So another thing that sorry guys, I'm just stretching because I want to stretch my legs. I have been working out. I got back to the gym this week. Since this week is the quote unquote official start of the year, I got back to the gym. Working out has been one of my New Year's resolutions, so I go back to the gym. And you know, when you just get back to the gym, when you just get back to working out, your body is hurting, like crazy. So I am in that phase after not having worked out as consistently as I wanted in the past. So I just wanted to stretch my legs to get a comfortable position because child. Anyways, the second thing that you need to work online is a computer, right? A working computer. Some people have asked me if they can work online with their a phone, because maybe they don't have access to a computer. And I will tell you to a certain extent, yes, but it also depends on what you're doing, right? For somebody who is getting started, I will always say, get your computer, get you a working computer, if you can, or get access to one. Let's say if you're giving yourself 3 months to start working online, then for the next 3 months, we are in January. For the next 3 months, figure out how you can get access to a computer. It could be yours, it could be somebody else, it could be your cousin, your sister, your mom's, and set up some hours where you are actually going to be in front of the computer, either working on your cover letters, your resumes, your online profiles, or and applying for jobs, right? And give yourself some time until you can find a job and then get your own computer. So a priori, for somebody who's getting started, I will always say you need to have your own computer, because it's just easier to manipulate, it's just easier to navigate the different interfaces, especially also because working online will be new to you. You need to be able to move a lot. Like it's just like working with a computer just makes it easier, to navigate a lot of things. So you need to have a computer. The third thing that you need to have in addition to a computer is a working internet connection. Yeah, a working internet connection. And welcome to everybody who is joining. As you're joining, let me know in the chat where you're joining from and what questions do you have about working online. We are talking about the key things that you need for you to start working online in 2026. You need a working internet connection, right? I know in some countries, sometimes I say in our countries, I grew up in Cameroon and I live in the Caribbean for 15 years, Dominica. So I know sometimes the internet connection is not all that. It's not to say that these things just happen in Africa or in the Caribbean. No, like even in North America, I've been in a situation where in Canada or in the US, the internet is not all that, right? So it's not just to say like it's just happening in our countries, but because I know that the majority of you guys in the live are either in the Caribbean or in Africa, I can say I know sometimes in our countries the internet connection can be a little bit spotty, a little bit shaky, right? And so it can be a little bit difficult to have this consistent internet connection. And I would say don't stress yourself too much with like, oh my gosh, what if I'm on a call, and then the internet just drops, right? If the internet drops, it dropped. But I think when you get started, when you are getting started, it's important for you to know, like to have at least access, like in your early days while you're still trying to figure things out, have access to stable enough internet connection to help you like apply for jobs, to help you be on interviews with clients. And then when you are working, then make sure that you invest in your own internet connection, and so that you have better control over it. I remember when I was starting working online, I used to have like a shared internet router and everything. And sometimes, because when you have a lot of people on the internet, on the router and everything, it slows down the internet connection at times, and it depends on what the other people are doing. So it used to be a little bit complicated because I was doing jobs like customer service. I was doing jobs like, live chat, emails and stuff, live chat and phone calls. So that requires a certain amount of internet speed, right? So I was like, yeah, that was a little bit of a challenge. And then sometimes in the Caribbean, in Dominica, we will have like tropical storm watch, tropical depressions. Sometimes we will have like tropical storm warning and those kind of things, and it will rain a lot. And so as a result of that, it will affect the weather. And then sometimes even the electricity provider will just kind of like shut down electricity just to protect the lines, right? Because if you keep it on, it can damage the lines and just make it harder for them to repair. So we used to have power outages a lot during the hurricane season. We used to also have just like random power outages at like no at a random time point. So that was kind of like challenging. But with that being said, these are things that I just learned to troubleshoot. Like when I started working online, when I knew that we were gonna have bad or spotty weather, I would just let my clients or my employers know that, hey, the weather is a little bit spotty here, so I might be offline for a little time. And another thing that I would do is I always had mobile data. That was like a rule of thumb. I always had mobile data, enough mobile data for me to hotspot my phone, my computer, in case the internet went off and I needed to continue working. So that is one thing that you just learn to troubleshoot. And of course, it's easier to do that when you are already making your money. So you know that in your monthly budget, you will allocate some money for your mobile data, because that data now becomes your working tool. Just like if you were going to spend some money for you to purchase a new computer, or if you are going to spend some money for you to, I don't know, invest in your workspace, or purchase like some noise canceling headphones or things like that. So all these things are like things that you from the get-go, you kind of like need to have it. But if you are also like living with someone, right? Like you are probably living with your parents, you don't really have control over the situation. Like you're not going to be like, okay, you know what, let me go and rent an apartment somewhere because I need to have working internet connection for me to work online. You can't bear new expenses when you are looking to make more money, right? So in those instances, I would say like if you have at least stable working internet connection that allows you to browse, that allows you to be online, browse, send emails, receive emails, be on video calls, you're good to go. And then when you start making your money, then you can actually invest in stronger, plans that provide you better connection, stronger data, and things like that. Another thing that I would say is just like looking ahead, not necessarily now, for the Caribbean and for people. Somebody say you're so pretty. Thank you. Thank you. For the Caribbean and for people who are like in Africa, in Asia, or anywhere else you're going to be watching this live from, but specifically all countries. You know what I mean when I say all countries. One thing that you will want to invest in is a generator, right? Because if you make working online your career, sometimes you have the power outages that are out of control. Like you don't have a say as to like when they just decide to take the power, they take it, right? And I have been in situations where I'm telling you, I have been in situations where it's when I have an important call, like it's when I have something important to do that they just take out the light. Either they announce it or they don't, but it doesn't matter because they still take out the light, right? So I have been in these situations, but unfortunately I also had new places where I could go to get internet connections, like hotspots on the islands where I could just go to get internet connection and to just continue working. So those are things that you would want to like think about as you progress in your online work journey, because sometimes there are situations that you cannot control, but but when you are in the position where you can actually change the situation, then you can invest in those things, that investing in a generator. Okay, so those are things that you need to be able to work online. Now, Eileen asked, and if you have any questions as we go through this live, just let me know in the chat. I will answer your questions, and we'll go ahead. Eileen asked, how can we use AI or ChatGPT to help in our online work journey and in our profiles? So when you are working online, right? When you are looking for online jobs, you need to be places where clients can find you, right? And so that's where the concept of having online presence comes in. A lot of us have an online presence in the form of like or social media platforms, like you guys are watching because you have a TikTok account, or you're watching because you have a YouTube account. Even if you don't post, you don't publish, but you have a YouTube account because you have a Google account, and they are linked together. So you're watching because you have a YouTube account. But when you start applying for online jobs, it means that you are opening up yourself to the external world in a good way. And so you need to have a place where people can find you online to really like build that trust factor. If you were applying for a physical job, then during your interview, the client will just have you come in and see you and meet you and chat with you, and they will be able to kind of like get a sense of who you are, and like I like to say, vibe with you, and figure out who you are, and if you're the right fit for the job. But when it comes to working online, beyond just what you are saying to clients in your online job applications, they don't have anything else to anywhere else to find you, or anything else to use to be able to vet you. And that is where having online profiles comes in, and being on platforms where clients already are. Popular platforms where clients already are. We talked about it on the first live. Somebody asked about the website where they should be on. I'm just going to mention them here. And then if you want to have a list of more websites, I have a remote work guide, which is a comprehensive guide that includes the top websites where you should be on if you're looking for online jobs. It includes strategies on how to avoid scams, strategies on how to edit your cover letters and resumes, how to prepare for interviews, and all these things. And you can find that in my in the bio, in my profile link. It's called the remote work guide. It's, you can find the profile link and just get yours. And everyone who gets your guide, we can also hop on a call. You get a complimentary 1 hour coaching session with me where I can answer any questions that you have, or I can review your application materials, your cover letters, your resumes, and so forth, right? So that's something that you can do. The reason I was talking about it is because we are talking about a website where you should be on when it comes to working online and how to create your profiles. So for these websites, one of the websites is Upwork. Another one is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a popular professional platform. Let me know, you guys, if you know about LinkedIn or if you know about Upwork. Let me know in the chat or in the comment section if you know about these platforms or these websites. So LinkedIn. So on these websites, you have to have an account, and you need to like have a professional presence. Essentially, your account needs to say things. Your account needs to talk about you, what services you offer, and what kind of jobs you are looking for, right? Now, what Eileen was asking was, how can I actually use AI to populate that easily? Now, personally, for me, these things now come easy because I coach people on how to find online work opportunities, and also by essence, I write, so I'm a writer, so it's easier for words come to me easily, and I know that for a lot of us it's not the case. So even if you like know what to say, sometimes you don't know how to say it, and sometimes it might be a reason why you feel kind of like self-conscious about your online job applications and things like that. So what you can do is you use AI, and you want to use the AI smartly. So there are different AI prompt or ChatGPT prompt that you can use to help you, with your online profiles. One of them is you can ask the AI. You can literally copy and paste your cover letter, your resume in the AI, or your CV if you have a CV. Copy and paste it in ChatGPT and say, "This is my CV, right? This is what I have accomplished for my entire life. Can you write an overview describing me in a professional way for me to be able to get online jobs into the skills category?" So if your skills category is customer service, or if your skill category is financial accountant, or social media virtual assistant, or writer, then you enter that. So the prompt again is by prompt I mean what you type in ChatGPT, right? So you essentially copy and paste your CV in ChatGPT, and you ask ChatGPT, "This is my CV and everything that I have accomplished for my entire life. Can you rewrite it for me? Can you write an overview for me in a way that makes me look professional, and that makes me very competitive for XYZ type of jobs, for customer service jobs, for virtual assistant jobs, for social media marketing jobs, whatever the skills category you want that is." And what the ChatGPT is going to do is it's going to rephrase your online it's going to help write like a description paragraph using your CV. It's very important that it uses your CV, because your CV is like the collection of everything that you've done, right? So it's going to use that to write an overview or an introduction of you, that you can now use in your online profiles. You can use that in your cover letters. You can use that in your resumes and so forth. And that is one of the ways in which you want to use the AI. You want to use it smartly. Now, when ChatGPT gives you these ideas, right? And when it rewrites it, it's not just for you to like copy and paste and be like, "Oh, you know what? That's it. Let me just copy. ChatGPT is correct with everything," right? You don't want to just move like that. You want to read what it says and make sure it is accurate for you, because sometimes the AI suggests based on what you provide as information, but at the end of the day, you are the person who knows yourself best, and so you have to edit it based on what is suitable and what is accurate about you. So don't just copy and paste everything that the AI says, like, "Okay, you know what, it is gospel truth, it is textbook truth," and stuff like that. No. Copy it, review it, edit it, tweak it to what is suitable and what makes sense for you, and then put it in your online profiles, because you would have, after you have already edited that. All right, I see another comment from Eileen. And if you guys have any questions as we go along, Hi, Divine. If anyone has any other questions, let me know. So Eileen, you are asking, how do you protect your intellectual property when adding it to your profile? So I would say, so one thing is watermark, right? Watermark your materials. Watermarking your materials just means that when somebody, if somebody wants to copy it, like if it's a document, for example, if somebody wants to copy it, they won't be able to copy it textually because there's a watermark on the document, or they won't be able to take screenshots of it because when they take a screenshot of the document, then there is a watermark. Like the people will see, Eileen XYZ, whatever the watermark is that you put. For other materials, I would say another thing that is a drawback with the online, with the digital world in which we are, right? It's that once you put something out there, there are rules in place, but you don't necessarily control how far it goes and how people use it. You can only figure out what to do once you found out that somebody has done something with it. And that is not always like a clear-cut thing. So what I would say is, especially in your case, because I have an idea of what you do, I would say don't put like full copies of your work online, unless you are like selling it. Don't put full copies, like if it's on your profile, for example. Don't put like an entire book excerpt. For example, you can put like one page, and people can ask to read more, if they want to know more about it. But yeah, it's I think limiting the amount of information that people can actually steal from you, especially because it's your intellectual property. But watermarking is one of those ways, definitely. Another thing is, I know that there are some software for people who are into photos and video, who have photos and videos assets. There are software that you can use to label your documents, to label your photos and your videos in a way that when people go on it, when people try to download it, you actually know who downloads it. And then you can like, if they are using it for commercial purposes without your permission, you actually know that, hey, they use it for commercial purpose without your permission. Like, it gives you a notification, and then you can ask them to either pay you for that or stop using it, and then they are like liable if they continue using it and if they don't abide by the rules. But yeah, it can be a little bit tricky, especially because we are in the digital world, and whenever we're uploading things on platforms, we've got to know the terms and conditions of the platforms, security, privacy, and so forth. And we are taking a chance by putting those things out there. So if I were you, I would be selective of what I put out there, and if it's content that is monetizable, then I will definitely not put, like, for a book, for example, I wouldn't put a full book. I would just put like a page, or if it's just maybe a like 3 pages document that it's really your intellectual property. Instead of putting a full page, I'll just put like half a page or a few paragraphs, so that it's not all my stuff out there. So that's what I will do. All right. So I'm checking TikTok to see if we have any other questions. Yeah, it's 16 pages. Okay, so it's a 16-page book. So I will say, you see, I guessed it right. So yes, yes, 16-page book. So I would definitely say, yeah, watermark the book. But I would also say, don't put the whole thing. Put I can show you, Eileen, the different software that you can use for watermarking, but I wouldn't even put the whole book. I would just put the introduction page, and then if they want to read more, send them they shouldn't, if they want to read more, they need to purchase the book. But if they want to confirm that the book really exists, then you can send them the link to where the book is hosted, right? If you are currently selling it on Amazon, okay, you say it's a research paper, yes. So either is a research paper already like published online. If not, then they don't need to see the full thing. You can just do maybe the intro page and maybe another page that is about the results of the research paper, right? But I will say, don't put the whole thing, because then it's just too easy for them to go, okay, so it's not published, okay, yes, so don't put the whole thing. Put the first page and then the results section, and then that's it. So at least if somebody says they want to steal it, then they can't really put it together with just the first page and the results section. All right. So thank you guys for the likes. I'm seeing all the hearts on the live. I'm seeing we are up at 1.3 thousand likes on TikTok. Thank you. I appreciate you all. If you're not yet following the page, make sure you follow. And if you have any questions, let me know in the chat, because I really want to make sure that I answer your questions. and that you get the information and value that you need for you to take the next steps when it comes to working online. If you know somebody who is looking for an online job, let them know about this page. And on the YouTube page, YouTube channel, I'm also live on YouTube. I'll be uploading daily videos starting from tomorrow, that you can use to supplement your information about working online, and you can ask me any questions that you want. All right, so the topic for today was or is, how do you what do you need for you to work online? And the first that I mentioned was you need skills to work online. You need to have a set of defined skills. I spoke about the skills that you already have, or you could already have either from your job, your past work experiences, or from school, right? But if you feel like, you know what, I don't really have any skills, or if you don't feel very confident in your skills, which is something that a lot of people also feel, then what you can do is you can learn new skills. You can learn new skills based on the skills that are currently in demand online, right? And I have a complete PDF guide. It's a free document that gives you a list of in-demand skills when it comes to working online. If you want to have access to it, I'm going to put the link on how to access it in the YouTube video description. So you can go back on the YouTube live. At the bottom of the YouTube live in the description box, you can just click to have access to the list of in-demand skills for working online, right? Yesterday we kind of touched yesterday or the day before, we kind of touched on the high in demand skills categories, and it goes hand in hand with that as well. So I wanted to talk about it and to touch on that. So yes, so you will need to have defined skills. The first thing, you need to have well defined skills. The second thing that you will need to do to have is an online presence. You need to be on platforms where clients are looking for you, where people who have jobs offerings are looking for people like you, and that's where platforms like Upwork and LinkedIn come in. I also have a list of multiple other platforms that you can join if you are looking for an online job. And I know you are in the Caribbean, in Africa, in Asia, or anywhere outside of the USA, Canada, or Europe, or Australia, right? And if you want to have access to that, I have a complete remote work guide where I have a list of just like multiple websites that you can use to land remote jobs. The next thing that you need to have is a working computer, or at least access to a working computer, and a working internet connection. And of course, the willingness to just put yourself out there, the willingness to try, the willingness to learn, and the willingness to really just make things better for yourself. Because I have coached up to, by now, I have coached about three, I think we are way over 300, I was going to say 300,000. God hear me. We are way over 300 people that have coached on how to find online work opportunities. And a lot of times people have the skills, but they are not willing to put themselves out there, or they feel like they can't get the jobs, because they don't believe in themselves, or because they have some mental blocks. And I always tell people that, there are people with less talent, less skills, less degrees, less certificates, less work experience than you, who are getting online jobs. So what is the reason why you're not putting what is the reason why you wouldn't be getting one? Simple. You are not putting yourself out there, or you don't believe in yourself. So there is that part, that component also. And when I work with people, I really work to make sure that we address this mindset and help you move from, not believing in yourself, to remembering that you are that person, like you are that person who can get the job, who can get the results, and so forth. All right. So I'm going to go back on the TikTok live because I'm seeing some comments. Yes. So you were saying that you would want the information on how to watch a market. So I will send you resources on that. And then you say you want to add two different PowerPoint presentations. I'm not sure what you mean by that. So maybe you can message me and let me know, clarify a little bit more about what you mean by adding two different PowerPoint presentations. Yes, you are that girl. You are that girl. For you guys who are joining in, drop a like, drop a love, share, drop a like, or send me some hearts. I didn't even realize that the TikTok live put a filter on my face. I'm like, bro, okay, TikTok must be thinking I'm that tired, which, I kind of am. I had a long day. And after this live, I'm going to be continuing my day. But yes, so yeah. Yeah, um, you're saying to put two different presentations on your profile. Yes, that's possible. Yeah, that is possible. That's also a very good option. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, all right, you can do that. All right, okay. Okay, I'm trying to see if there are any other comments. I don't think so. I don't think so. Yes, so things that you need to work online. So if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. I will answer them either now or in the next live. Um, Tomorrow we're also gonna go live tomorrow. One thing that we're gonna be doing is because I'll be going live here, both here on TikTok and on YouTube. If you miss the live, Eileen, I see what you're saying. It's so complicated. You know what? Whatever questions you have, just ask me. I have a feeling that you might be overthinking it. But you can let me know tomorrow. But I have a question that you might be over. I have a feeling that you might be overthinking it. But yeah, you might you probably in your head a lot. I feel like you're probably in your head a lot. But yeah, I know it's Friday night and you probably have plans. As for me, I will continue editing videos. Yes, you are overthinking in your head. So just let me know. You guys just giving a shout out to Eileen. She's one of my current clients. We're working online. We're working together. And so one of the advantages of that is that you have access to getting feedback from me every day, frequently. I review your profiles, I review application materials, review your cover letters, resumes, and so forth. So that's a good thing. And yeah, we also workshop to some of the issues that you might have or some of the blockages that you might have. So yes, Eileen, after this live, I will just send you a message on what you find is particularly complicated. And yeah, I will see how we can workshop that together. All right. I know that it's Friday, and usually on Friday, I'm like, you know what? I know people. You are welcome. You are welcome. I'm that girl. That's it. I know on Friday, some people might have wanted to join their life, but they are listen on Friday. I'm outside. Is the first or the second Friday of the year? I'm not sure, but anyways, it's yeah, the second Friday of the year. Yes. So if you join, for those who join, thank you for joining. One thing that I was saying was I will be having this live now. Now that I'm now going live on YouTube, we'll be having this live on TikTok and on YouTube every single day of January. Tomorrow we will probably do the live earlier because I have a few events to attend in the evening, and on Sunday we might be doing it later. But I will let you guys know. I will always let you guys know. On TikTok and on YouTube now. It's a little bit erratic because the month is very busy for me, and I cannot guarantee that it will always be in the evening simply because my schedule changes. But I want to be able to keep a steady like evening time. But I also know that some of you guys are in West Africa and now it's like really night time for you. So it might be complicated to join a live, at 2 a.m. in the morning on TikTok, unless you are like, I really cannot sleep. So we'll play it by ear. We'll play it by ear. Either way, if you're not able to join the live tomorrow, I will. You can check it out on YouTube because now that I'm also going live on YouTube, you can watch the replay on YouTube, and I will announce the topic of the live tomorrow morning so that you know what we're talking about on YouTube, and then you can catch the replay on YouTube. On YouTube, the channel is The Real Work Online now. It's the same thing as on TikTok. And I'm going to make sure that the link is also in the TikTok bio so that you can see it and you can just click on it and go and watch the live. Okay. I hope that this live provided you some value. We are coming to the end. Let me see if there are any other questions. And tomorrow I'm going to make sure that I do the setup a little bit better. It was my first time doing the live both on TikTok and on YouTube. So I was like, okay, I need to just make sure that I get it right and people can see me. And if people can see me and hear me, that is a priority, right? We're going to deal with the aesthetics of the optics another time. And that worked, right? So thank you all so much for joining. I hope you found value in this. And tomorrow we're going to talk about another topic. If you have any questions about landing a remote job, finding a job online, any challenge, any fear, any blockage, let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the chat, and I will make sure to answer it. And then if you were not able to join the live, watch the replay on YouTube. The page is The Real Work Online now. And then finally, okay. Okay, thank you. I'm glad that the sound is good, and thank you, Eileen. All right. And then finally, you can what was I going to say? Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thoughts a little bit here. Yes, if you want additional support, just check out the different resources that I have on my bio, both on YouTube and on TikTok. There are different products there to help you based on the stage where you are. Check it out and let me know how else I can help. But all the resources are there. Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in, and see you tomorrow for another live. Take care and good night. Bye. How do we end this now? How do we end the live? Okay, I figured it out.